Hey there, and welcome. It's funny how in the world of business, some of the simplest words can have, well, some pretty complex meanings. Today, we're going to dig into one of those. We're talking about a phrase that takes something you'd find in your kitchen and turns it into a term for some serious corporate fraud. So let's just think about that for a second. Salting an invoice. What comes to mind? Probably a chef, right? Sprinkling some salt on a dish. But what on earth does that have to do with business fraud? It's a fantastic question. And trust me, the answer tells us so much about how language works. All right, so here it is. To salt an invoice basically means to dishonestly pump up a bill. And we're not talking about a tiny mistake here. Oh no. This is about deliberately adding fake charges or maybe exaggerating the prices of things, all so you can pocket some extra cash you didn't earn. It's straight up fraud, plain and simple. Okay, but why salt? Right? I mean, why not peppering an invoice or sugaring an invoice? Well, the origin story here is actually super interesting, and once you hear it, I promise you, you will never forget what this phrase means. So it turns out this whole thing comes from a really old, and I mean literal, trick. You had these shady merchants way back when who would actually add salt to their goods. We're talking food, sometimes even precious metals, just to make them heavier. Why? Well, heavier goods meant they could charge more money. The whole point was to deceive someone by adding something that just shouldn't be there. And over time, that very physical act just morphed into the business idiom we use today. It's the exact same idea, dishonestly adding something extra, but now it's on an invoice.
All right, so we've got the what and the why. We know what it means, and we know where it came from. So now let's get practical and see how this idiom actually works in the real world. This is where it gets really important, especially if you're in a field like accounting, auditing, or, international business.
Okay, let's look at a perfect example. First, in English, you might say, the company was caught adding fake shipping charges. They had salted an invoice for extra profit. See how that works? Now let's hear the same idea in Indonesian. Perusahaan itu ketahuan menambahkan biaya palsu untuk pengiriman. Mereka ternyata mensalt invoice demi keuntungan lebih. It's pretty cool, right? In both languages, that one little idiom perfectly describes this act of just inventing charges out of nowhere. But let's be really clear about something. This isn't just some cute, quirky phrase you can throw around. No. When you use this term, you're making a very serious accusation, especially when we're talking about things like audits or official accounting. Salting an invoice stops being a metaphor. It becomes a description of a crime, one with some pretty severe consequences. And here's the bottom line, really. This isn't just about paying a fine or even getting into some legal hot water. The real damage, the thing you can't easily fix, is what it does to your credibility, to your company's reputation. And that kind of damage, it can be absolutely devastating, and sometimes it's permanent. Let's put that warning into a full sentence. In English, it's, if the auditor finds out you salted an invoice, your business reputation could be completely ruined. And now in Indonesian, jika auditor menemukan kamu mensalt invoice, reputasi bisnismu bisa hancur total. See? Both sentences drive home that same critical point. If you got caught doing this, you're risking the complete and total destruction of your reputation. So let's do a super quick recap of the key takeaways here. Number one, salting an invoice is all about dishonest billing. Number two, The phrase comes from that old physical trick of adding salt to make things heavier. Number 3, this is absolutely a serious form of business fraud, not a small mistake. And finally, and maybe most importantly, the consequences aren't just about money. They can completely ruin a company's reputation. Kind of makes you think, doesn't it? Our language is just packed with these little hidden histories. It makes you wonder, what other everyday words are just sitting there, hiding some pretty surprising business secrets? It's definitely something to think about. And that's it for our look into the hidden meaning of salting an invoice. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe.